I don't know, so, come on, I'm advising you to just.
We're good.
Good.
We're live.
Yeah, it says we're streaming live.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good evening. Welcome to the September 9th budget workshop for the town of Rush. I think we should probably say the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Annette, would you call the roll, please?
Councilman Tice,
Here.
Supervisor Williver,
Here.
Councilperson Morelli,
Here,
Councilperson Brown,
Here.
Councilman Chase is excused, and I would like to say that Highway Superintendent DJ Kyle is here. We'll move forward with what we can. Janice won't be available tonight, so we'll talk out what we can and probably follow up later.
so do we know? I know a lot of questions and I know we need her here really to get the answers. But what does this represent? Like, is there, an increase in taxes? Is it flat or is this projecting?
This is
Increase.
projecting a 2% increase in taxes.
Okay,
That's pretty much across the board with everything that is presumed at this time.
Everything that's in here total is 2% more than last year.
okay,
And we would be using at currently, without cutting any changes, making any changes to anything in here, we would be using $300,000 out of the unexpended balance to balance the budget.
well, that's just in the general.
That's total.
I don't think so.
Well, that's, yes, DJ's
Is different.
is separate.
And the libraries,
Yes, yes.
right. Because that would be the highway is another 240, 400 coming out of the unexpended balance,
Out of their own.
their unexpended balance.
Correct.
And 35,920 out of the library.
Yep.
But again, it will be helpful to see where we started out at the beginning of the year. Are we within our budget for this year?
I
Will
thought,
we?
didn't she forward those numbers?
There was so much that was not filled in. We need to see, I think, and we will before we vote on anything
Well,
and finalize.
we have
this,
the
but-
number of the adopted budget and where we stand this
What
year
page
so
you on?
far.
Well, that's as of 6:30,
Well, we have
June 30th.
half a year.
half a year. Just overall, all the numbers in the column, so that year to date is through June 30th, not current. So you kind of have to,
Well,
So-
yeah,
some things are doubled, some
We sh-
things are one-offs, some,
yeah. We should be halfway through the budget. The numbers. The supervisor's salary is 34,138 and I'm at 1769, which is half of what it should be.
okay, let's get on the same page here.
That's just
Oh, just looking at,
to show where we are.
Yep.
Legislative personnel salary, health of people. The total is 544, and we're at 16,272, which is halfway through.
mhm,
And all the numbers should be, for the most part, we've been running pretty good with the budget. We're over on the biggest thing we're over on is legal. Legal, we had a bunch of issues at the beginning of the year that we had to close out, and that put us over where we should be. we've raised how much we set aside for legal next year. But I really want to get that number down. I want it to be. We had a lot of problems at the beginning of the year. But I want to get that number down to pretty much the retainer. And
Yeah.
not much beyond that. And that's what I'm shooting for.
Okay,
And engineering, there's a lot of pass-through stuff that we started collecting. There's a little bit we had to write off. But that should be coming under control better. I was just going through the bills today in the abstract and the number, the bill for the month is like $6,000, but most of that is pass-through stuff. There was a $1,200 charge. I asked them to put together like a basic charge fee for this kind of application. The fee should run around this much. And I haven't seen that, but we got charged $1,200 for it. So I'm expecting to see that data soon. And applicants should know coming in, like what this is gonna cost.
approximately. what
Yeah,
it could.
and that's what I'm trying to do with. We should have those figures coming soon.
And what about the escrows? Because this doesn't break it down what we get in to offset, some of the solar facilities that are
Yeah.
supposed to be paying into escrow.
Yeah.
Because
There-
those fees are much higher.
I have seen those figures. They're probably somewhere on my desk. I could get them to you.
Okay. It would be nice to know that it's being managed,
Yeah.
that like when those are
Yep.
going down, that we're getting it filled up again by the developers.
I kind of think Warner's just put more money in there.
Okay,
On our, I know this is nickel and dime stuff, but our newsletter, 12,000 a year.
What page you on? What page?
That's on the
Second
second page.
Second one. Down a little bit.
it's in one of the sub
Yeah.
columns there.
It's $2,000 for each mailing.
Right. Well, my thought is, $2,000, $2,000, 12,000 is 12,000. We have everybody in the world screaming that they use their computer and they want Zoom. Why not offer it in an email fashion? Maybe you cut that in half. A lot of people, I will care less if I get a paper one. Right? That's,
A lot of
But-
people would probably opt to get a digital version.
We'll have to compile lists.
Yeah, I know.
We could do that.
You start asking people.
Yeah.
Some people we have because they sign up for news.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
I also put down if we switch to quarterly, save
We talked
We
about
say
that before.
$4,000. I think Henrietta only does 2 issues a year. But I don't really know if I like that.
that's not
Because
often enough.
it's even every 2 months, it's trying to put together an article, it's like.
Right.
I start writing about what's going on now and that's gonna be old news by the time the letter comes out.
Mhm.
I'm not opposed to the quarterly.
I know it's chunky.
It's $4,000, but it's 4,000.
But it starts somewhere, right? Looking at
we could
where
also
can you
look at-
shave some
look at-
costs with, and still provide the information to people
Yeah.
in another way.
Mhm.
I think that's worth an undertaking
Yeah.
to
so-
see how we can transition to that.
Mhm.
A lot of my farm magazines or newspapers, they say a thing, my digital. Free then. They get signed up for it, so it saves them up printing, saves them the mailing. Everything.
I switched to all digital myself for the newspapers I subscribe to. And it still costs, but it's like half the price of print.
Yeah, print-
And I'm not
It's crazy.
I have a lot less recycling.
Oh,
But yeah, I think we should look at another way of doing this.
Mhm. I agree.
then I hear, I think, on the going from, part-time to full-time.
I-
Did I hear you say you didn't need the benefits?
I don't need benefits.
So would it make more sense? So we stay on the legal side of it, is to make it like 38 hours a week versus 40 determines.
Anything over 32,
And what are we,
you have to pay benefits.
and you're doing 32 at this point?
I
I
I'm,
know,
I'm around 32 right now.
I'm just trying to see how,
Yeah, I didn't know if it was a possibility, like we did with Pat Stevens for a while. She had two separate jobs. I didn't know if there was like a facilities kind of guy, a facilities position along with the supervisor position. Be two different pays that wouldn't make it a full-time job. It'd be two different positions. I didn't know if that was even an option. But it's
Can
something
we
like,
look at that?
that would be a question for, because
Janice.
Janice question?
because a lot of what I seem to be taking out lately is facility stuff, you know. And I really, if we're gonna preserve anything over at White Springs Farm, we're gonna have to start doing something over there. But we're gonna have to find a use for the buildings. If we're not gonna use the buildings, then what's the sense of having them? I mean, we have, there is value to the buildings, but there's also costs to get them up to the point where we can actually use them. There's been interest.
If we had interest, I suppose that'd be one thing as well.
Taylor Hines with the bees. And
Yeah.
her dealing with veterans. She'd like to use building one for veteran programs, which I believe there would be grant money available. If we could if she could put together a program.
Yeah,
And then Transportation Museum and the Train Museum have talked about using Building 9. And also Horse's Friend has talked about using Building 9 for different things. And that's got like
it
a,
needed a lot of work though, so isn't that why
Building 9
no
has-
one pursued that?
Building 9 has a brand new furnace in it. They put a brand new furnace in it and they gave it to the town. But it's been sitting out for 10 years. We would need to fire it up and see what happens. It might be, I mean, it hasn't worked in 10 years. So who knows what's gonna happen?
Which I figured this would be a topic of conversation, obviously, you going full time. What are your contractual hours now that you're obligated to be here? 24,
20, yeah, probably.
basically a 3-day week position.
And it's, you know,
Because I'll be honest, I'm not sold one way or the other on it. I'm on the fence because I look at it both ways. You can either do the town a lot of good by being here more often and taking care of some of these issues that definitely need to be addressed.
Mhm.
But I also am not completely sold on it either
yeah,
because of the financial side of it.
yeah, absolutely. I understand.
I do know, we've talked about a facilities type person to catch some of the things maybe quicker. Like this leak back here that came to light 2 weeks ago. Behind the
Gutters.
library, another leak or something going on
Oh,
with the drains and
Oh,
going down.
in the basement.
I was
yeah.
just like,
That's-
oh my
That's been
God.
going on for a while.
Yeah, but we're not,
Like that for you.
but why aren't we addressing that?
It's brought to the attention of the past supervisor.
Okay, I'm just saying,
that
yeah.
It's been brought up before. And
but that's one, I'm sure there's other areas, so. Yes, I agree, we need someone with more eye on the maintenance issues that we have on some of our town properties.
The roof on the Transportation Museum that we spent $80,000 on 5 years ago. Started looking today.
I don't get it.
I mean, somebody like that though, then they could oversee the highway buildings, because they're under our.
Yeah,
Our
all
umbrella.
the buildings.
Got the horse, you got. Historian building, got this building here, this building, I mean. I could see where something like that could probably. Fall into line.
It would be really good to know, though, if it could be kind of a split thing.
Yeah,
Because the benefits, and I know you say you don't need health insurance, but then there's also. That's you,
yeah,
And what-
it's the next person. I understand that.
and
And
then so on and so on, and the cost of not just health insurance. But the retirement system,
Yeah.
you're talking about taking your base salary and increasing it by another third.
Yep.
For all-in cost to the town.
Yeah.
It. You know, it's not just, that and,
yes,
it's, so. It's a lot of money,
mhm.
I think that we need to think about.
Yeah.
I'm not sold one way or the other.
Yeah.
I just think it needs to be thought about,
Yeah, I agree.
thoroughly and not just jumped at. Obviously, but I see the benefit,
Mhm,
you know. But you're gonna get those days where you're kind of a mixed role in
mhm.
it, but
Can I say something? Am I allowed to say something?
Pat wants to say something.
I'm sorry?
Pat up there wants to say something.
Oh,
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Pat.
Okay, hi, everybody. I just wanted to say that, having Dan there, if he was there 5 days, is just as an employee of the town. It would, it really would be awesome to have him there Thursday and Friday also, because we do have issues that don't happen Monday through Wednesday. Unfortunately, I have to text Dan like on a Friday night or on the weekend or whatever. We all take our jobs extremely serious. We're all very dedicated. But I think with all the issues that's going on with the town hall, and we do have, White Springs Farm, there is things coming up. There has to be an engineering report on building 9. I know Taylor wants building number 1, but there still needs to be work to be done on that, according to John Limbeck, before we can even use it. But there's so many things coming up. I could see where Dan could be there 5 days and still be working every day, doing everything. Like you said, between supervisor and taking care of other issues. I really wish he was there Thursday and Friday for any issues that I have. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Pat.
You're welcome.
can we, if your position, you personally can't be bifurcated into 2 different things and to keep it under those full-time employee status rules,
Mhm.
should we consider hiring a part-time facilities person? Should we offer Dan a stipend to increase his hours as deputy supervisor? I'd be willing to do that.
I don't know if that's gonna happen.
I don't know. He's not here to, but for someone to help out with that function so that we're not, overwhelmingly increasing the cost to the town.
I don't know how much we would spend on a facilities person. Somebody to do it part-time, I have no idea.
I don't know. Or some hours, someone to be able to look at and say, we've got to address this. We need attention over here, going around, because right now it's just you.
Yeah.
And doing other things. I appreciate that. But if there's a way of accomplishing, an eye on the properties, relieve you of some of that, so you can still do other town level things. I'm just throwing out
I think
alternatives.
what you would find though, is let's say we'll put Derek in that position,
Yeah,
or Dan.
well, I just
I
threw out Dan because he's deputy.
they would probably end up going around, looking at different things and going back to Dan and discussing them. So it'd be not as involved, but it would still be stepped up into the involvement of it. It's kind of a,
I mean, no matter
it's
what, he
short.
is the supervisor. He's gonna be in that role no matter
Right.
what.
but that could take some of the pressure off,
Yeah,
but that's,
I'm throwing it out there for us to think about as a way of accomplishing the need.
Yeah.
For someone to do that. And saving the town some money.
Mhm.
Just a thought, Dan.
Okay,
That's why we do this.
Yeah.
Exactly, we're talking.
You know, and to that point. It's a 2-year term, right?
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, providing something happens and the next person doesn't want to have all that responsibility. They
Correct.
want a part-time. I guess that's just something the future is what we gotta think.
I
about
had
as well.
thought about
Yeah,
that too.
yeah.
We may not be able to get a candidate willing to put in that many hours.
Well,
I'm just saying,
No, but.
the
Jerry was
reality
here,
is, Bill, this has been almost a full-time job.
yeah, he was here. all the
Bill
time.
is here constantly. And
Jerry
I
was
don't know
here
what happened
full-time.
after Bill's up.
Something
something to think about as an alternative.
Yep.
We'll get there. So on the presentation of some of these things, when we get to, okay, so I see the money coming in for this grant, 125,000, that's for White Springs Farm.
Yep,
You know, hopefully. I went back to page 1, I'm sorry, I'm jumping around. Page 1 first, on the revenue side. That's the grant that we hope that they're gonna get,
yes,
you know, to make the improvements over there. So I see the money coming in over there.
hmm
And then I see, I think, matching it up, going back out on the expense side for the expense.
yes.
So that's kind of, what I don't see is the 1911 house money.
I did see that somewhere.
Because I don't see it as an expense here for buildings or commitment,
Pretty sure I saw it somewhere.
okay? I did see, well, actually, I did see something that was a little funny looking to me. Okay. The historian. There's a big number in here. Under expenses,
Mm-hmm.
and that could be the commitment, but that it
That's it.
shouldn't, so,
What page are you on?
okay, I'm sorry, next to
4.
last,
4.
okay. Should put numbers.
Second, bottom left.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's,
oh, there it is,
it should be 93,000.
Yep, 90.
93,000. So. Okay. That should really go into buildings, to tell you the truth, that's a town building.
Mhm. Yeah, well, I don't know why she would put it under the historian.
I couldn't find it, and then I saw that, what is that?
Yeah.
So that should be moved to buildings, so we can, it's all.
I don't know about the headstones repair this year. $7,200 for the tombstones at the top of the hill. Pioneer Hill Cemetery. I don't know if we want to attack this year or put it off till next year or.
Can we split it? I don't know. I mean, I don't know the state or what our commitment is to that.
Well, maybe we could put half of it aside and then. Put the other half aside next year.
What's that for?
Repairing the tombstones on Pioneer Hill Cemetery, top of West Rush Road there. Sue had put down $7,200 for repairs up there.
Yeah.
She has, well, she's been going around to all the cemeteries and
Sue has,
Sue has.
okay.
And, don't know, she had put in for the cemetery up on Rotzell Road. Not sure if that ever got done. The graves up on Rotzell, did they ever get fixed?
That I do not know. I know we went up there and cleaned up a bunch of brush.
Yeah, there was a lot of
fallen trees
branches
and stuff
down.
Like that. But clean the area up. Beyond that, I do not know.
Sue's there's.
Is she on?
Yes.
Sue me, she
Yeah.
is.
Sue, can you hear us?
See your face.
Sue?
Should have to. be.
Can you unmute her?
Uh-huh. Sue, can you?
Yeah.
Sue, can you hear us?
Can you hear me? I can hear you. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Yes.
I could do a Verizon commercial. Yes, Rotzell Road Cemetery was repaired last summer. So that one is complete. The estimate for the Pioneer Hill Cemetery is from the same contractor. He's also done our number 6 road cemetery, 7, 8 years ago. And the price that he gave me for Pioneer Hill, he gave me last December. I did check with him and he will honor that same price for 2025. If we put it off, I think we would probably need to figure some percentage of increase if it's beyond 25.
What did she say? I couldn't hear it.
Oh,
He would honor that
Okay.
price, $7,200 through 25, but after that, it'd probably be increased.
He's the same one that did number 6 road. He did number 6 road as well.
He did number 6 road. He did Rotzell Road Cemetery.
For volume.
He's done two big repair jobs that I was able to get grant money for Pine Hill Cemetery, probably $100,000 total between those 2 projects. But that we didn't have to.
hey, Sue, we're trying to increase the volume here.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No, that's all right. I'm on my phone and maybe that's why too. I was just saying, can you hear me better now?
A little bit.
It's coming through the speakers.
Okay, I'll try to talk louder. He did Rotzell Road Cemetery for us. He did number 6. Excuse me. And then the quote I have there is for Pioneer Hill. He's also done for us that the town did not pay for, because I was able to get grant funding through the New York State Division of Cemeteries. He did 2 projects at Pine Hill Cemetery that totaled about $100,000 between the 2. And I think I mentioned the night that budget requests were presented. I have also right now a grant request to the Division of Cemeteries submitted for $55,000 for North Rush Cemetery. The Division of Cemeteries grant funding does not cover or not eligible for inactive cemeteries unless they were incorporated and we have all those records, and we don't have anything for those the cemeteries that have already been repaired or Pioneer Hill. We do for North Rush, and as we've discussed before, that will probably eventually, maybe sooner than later, fall under the town's domain as well. Because, funding is limited and there's really not much in the way of revenue there.
Yeah.
That's something we need to think about. It's gonna be more expensive if we put it off, is the answer.
Mhm.
Yeah, I can't say how much more. I mean, maybe it wouldn't be terribly much, but I'm sure we can count on it being more in some capacity.
Why don't we go, let's just put half of it aside, and if it's a bit more, when we decide to do it. Like on 26.
Okay. Okay.
Say retirement systems, social security benefits, workman's comp, none of that we really have a lot of control over.
But that's the point. You see those costs, that just those benefits right there.
Yeah.
On that same page 4.
Yeah.
On the benefits here in this last grouping,
Mhm.
how much money that amounts to for the town, and I know we don't control it. But as you saw, and you sent out an email today about the utility costs in addition.
Yeah.
That's not even part of this going up.
I
We
think
know,
we figured in a 15% increase.
right, but you said it
Yeah.
could be higher, but.
Yeah.
But we know hospital medical goes up by double digits every year. It seems, so,
Yeah, it was for the long time around 10 or 12%. This year seems to be extraordinary, but.
I noticed there was no number in the 2024 year-to-date for state retirement system. Do we not?
Maybe,
Do that?
maybe they haven't collected it yet.
Okay,
I don't know how that works.
If, jump back to the librarian there. We have 2,000 for signage, that's for that signage of the Veterans Park up there, right? You wanna put some sign up there? But we do that next year and put that 2,000 toward the headstones. Now you're only looking at a difference of $1,200. I mean, if you're gonna pick. The good causes, both of them, but. I think the signage was for some sign that the previous. Supervisor wanted, somebody wanted.
hey, Sue.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I am. Can you hear me?
yes.
Okay.
Can you explain the budget number for signage for $2,000, what that is for?
Yes.
Is that like-
So in this year's budget, 2024, I have funding to create a sign, interpretive sign. So it's the same type of signage that is in the Veterans Memorial, text and photos. They can be replaced, updated as needed. Shouldn't be an issue for these other signs, but obviously for the veteran panels, some of those do need to be updated as time passes. What I wanted to do was to put one of these interpretive signs over by the site of the former mill silo. I think people don't even know what that is. I mean, those of old timers of us do, but newer families, and the creek gets a lot of traffic with people using it for fishing, for photography, for whatever. I think it would be nice if they knew what they were looking at. So the sign I envisioned would give a little bit of narrative history of what was there, and then some photos of the old mill and some of the other structures that were there in the earlier days.
So is there grant money for that kind of thing? Speaking of which, we're working on this bicycle pedestrian safety, and also talking, part of the conversation had to do with signage
Mhm.
and pointing out unique things about the town of Rush
That
as
would
you're
be
going
perfect
through
for
it,
that.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So is that an annual application, or what is the timing on that?
Well,
It's in
Okay.
process.
yeah, we're working on, Dan and I are participating in a study being done by consultants. The town got this big grant to do the study.
Right.
And then the study is used to apply for grants, as you know.
Right. Okay.
Nothing will be coming
Really,
immediately, exactly.
down the road.
Yeah, and hopefully next year, if we can get the study done. You're a
Would the,
little behind, I think.
Yeah,
would the signage need to be in the same location as the sidewalks?
Well, we're talking about trails, access through the town, bicycle.
Okay, okay, because I just wanted to clarify, the funding that I have received for, in my 2024 budget, and I'm working on a sign for, that's the mill. What I put in my budget request for 25 was to create the same type of design over at White Springs Farm, telling about the history of that land and that, you know, that it previously was the White Springs Farm owned by the Clapp family, and that they sold the property in 1903 to New York State to become the State School of Industry. And I have photos of their farmhouse and, you know, some other images that could be included. So that's the request for next year. Would that sign be eligible then, do you think, for this grant, or should I switch them around?
Good question. I don't,
I would think that the tie linen stuff would be just stuff around the hamlet.
more directed to the hamlet.
Yeah, over there,
Okay, so I could use, I have that
this would be.
project just about ready to go off to the,
That's true.
That whole, the whole property is got LWRP projects on it,
okay,
building repairs and trails and
That sounds like a perfect tie-in for that. Can you hear that, Sue?
I heard part of it, so I should,
The LWRP
okay,
really
There's
covers
skid
that whole
trails.
area of town?
the west side where the White Springs Farm is.
yes, they,
Okay.
there's
Okay, so I could,
different projects over there. Not
Okay.
only trail along the river, but there's all kinds of development on the White Springs property.
all right, so I could remove that request from my 2025 budget request for the signage. And you could give me the information, or I could give you the information, whichever way.
We
To apply.
should be hearing something from LWRP. I got a thing that we were finished and then somebody came up with some more questions. But that was a couple months ago, and then part of the group is like, let's get this done, and the other's like, I got one more question. But it's, I mean, it's been 5 years now. It started with Kathy Frank. So it's gotta be wrapping up soon.
Okay, is that that funding already allocated for designated projects?
No, it's just defined projects,
Okay,
and the projects on the Rush property are kind of vague, like we should do something to fix this up, and we should fix something to fix that.
okay,
But I mean, if we could put together something in the grant proposal, I'm sure it could be worked in with the LWRP stuff.
all right, that's fine. I don't care where the money comes from, as long as we can in some way move forward on some of these projects.
So take the signage out for this budget and try and fit it in under some grant proposals.
Yes, that sounds good.
And then are we keeping the cemetery repair in?
That in, keep the cemetery repair in,
Okay, excellent, thank you.
Half of that in.
or half of it. Split it, okay. Dan wants to do half.
If it's-
Okay, so that would become a 2026 project?
Well, pour half of it
Yeah, we,
for the headstones,
yes, we would,
half in 25, half in 26.
yeah.
Okay, I'll have to ask the contractor, because there are not a lot of these people that do this work, and he would be coming from Warsaw. So I don't know.
No, we wouldn't do them until we would just hold that money.
Okay, so the work would actually be done in 26.
Yeah, the whole project would be in 26.
Oh,
But we'd have to find out how much he is gonna charge us in 26.
yeah.
And he may not know. I mean, a lot of it is, I think, based on concrete and that sort of thing too, materials. And everybody keeps telling me that's incredibly expensive lately. I don't know. Okay,
And Vic, because we were talking about Are we good on historian? Just because we were talking about like facilities or buildings type of position, we have buildings, personal service. Right, on page 2. AA 1620100. What number? 1620100. Kind of towards the bottom. I guess there's a whole buildings category.
Mhm.
Is that, what position is that?
It's, I'm not real sure.
Where are you looking again?
Building personal services.
Okay,
I don't know if that's between Jeff, that's what I was thinking,
Oh.
Jeff Bruin and Bill
probably,
Chase and Dick Snyder.
right,
It's personal services.
yeah, it is.
Or payable.
Do we have anything in here for highway buildings? Like 40,000 lump sum for building maintenance, but
You're on the highway now?
do we? Well, no, I'm still in the our building.
Oh, right, I'm sorry, okay. So. Yeah, how do we do this one? Because we were talking about starting to set up some reserves.
Yes,
Where would that go? How do we do that?
Reserves on the second to last page, or building reserves. For 30,000. Last line.
I see that.
What, at page 5?
Yeah, page 4,
Or,
down past the historian and building inspector
got it,
and
okay.
all that stuff. There's a number there, just a reserve account of 30 grand.
Yeah.
There was a separate schedule that was sent out a couple of weeks ago. I found it kind of a schedule for reserves.
Yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
what we need to look at, like for next year. Well, we have 30 here, but it's really 40,000 in total reserves. That's presumably somewhere, so maybe there's another.
and these are only. I mean. Oh, there's somewhere.
Yeah,
That's
moving
what I'm saying,
out.
like we, obviously gotta start somewhere, but.
Tippitone told me that air conditioning probably gotta be done next year.
Here,
The boilers, I just threw that out to get some kind of idea what it might cost.
gotta
I don't know
start
how long, the boilers are 20 years old. I don't know how long they last. But it's something to think about. I needed to get some kind of price.
Okay,
I
so,
think I'm gonna chime in here, and I mean, we stay focused on this building because we're in this building, but. I'm gonna go back to the highway garage again, we gotta spend some money over there, and they don't have. A lot of time on their hand, we're gonna be putting stupid money in that building.
because right now, under this reserves project, we're just talking about the salt barn and land, potential land, but only a salt barn.
Well, the salt bar, I'm not talking about the salt bar, I mean, that is a factor, yes. But there's block damage from gutters needing replacement on the main maintenance building. There's doors that need to be replaced, and it's all, I wanna say simple stuff, but it's easy stuff to fix if we fix it now before it's really it's already starting to damage the foundation.
Yeah,
It's fixable at this time. but I just wanna make sure I'm gonna be an advocate for those guys over there because we're focused on this building and the windows and the boiler.
We see it,
We should
but
see
you know,
it.
and I know that Dan Chase had given us a report
Yeah.
last year, and that kind of opened my eyes.
Yeah.
To like, we gotta look at all these things.
So, I mean, we got the whole thing we have to look after, you know, and it's like. I don't know,
So in
we'd
this-
like to see us get some gutters and do some roof work on that thing as soon as possible.
So
but
what
that's-
is it in here in the budget? Is all these numbers for building. Page 2. Is there anything in there that? You know, I don't know. Do we have enough? We have building supplies, utilities, IT, cleaning, waste, maintenance,
I mean,
air conditioners, windows,
there's 40,000 right there.
maintenance. What
Air-
is that?
air-
Do we know what that's for?
Air conditioning and windows, it's on.
Yeah, there's 30.
You're saying we budget for the 260. And then assuming we get the grant for the horse barn.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If we don't get that, then that's decreased by 125, but there's not the expense.
it's kind of a net. We show with the revenue and then the expense coming and back out. But to your point, Luther, about what is in the budget currently to do these,
Nothing.
but I don't know.
That's what I'm saying, it's like you got, somebody got numbers for air conditioners, somebody got prices for windows.
That was,
I think what has to happen to be, in fairness, is call up contractors and have them give us a price for gutters, have them give us a price for surfacing that roof. It doesn't need an asphalt shingle, it's a spray coating they put on it, metal roof. So there's some simple things we can get some budget numbers on it and be prepared here. We could probably call and get numbers here within probably a week or so, maybe.
Yeah.
And
Maybe
extend
2
the life
weeks.
of that building.
Pardon?
We're cutting off a major cost if we do this repair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because what's happening now is the gutters are failing on one side of the building, so the water is coming right down the side of the building and going into the block and damaging the block. Now, the block isn't the main support of the building. I get that. Right? It's a steel structure, but the block is a significant wall.
Yeah.
And if we start getting into replacing a lot of that, that's gonna be some real serious money. Where now we can stop the damage side of it. And then do the repair work on it. And then next, we can budget more money into this. Because the block wall should be filled in place. It's just a cinder block wall is all it is. So
Right.
it's a light duty. But we can start scheduling, but right, I know the building won't collapse, but it needs help as soon as we can get it.
So can we get detail as to what are in this maintenance number? Is that even
I can work
factoring,
with, them, we can we'll
get a
maybe a
number?
couple weeks. I'll
I
try,
think, you know, maybe the gutters and the roof being coated, the gutters being replaced would be. The
That's a-
first,
That's a good
Mhm.
start.
once you protect the top.
Yeah.
You know, you protect everything that's underneath it.
We did half of that roof 3-4 years ago.
It's been longer than that, it's probably been close to 14, we did half part of the roof, a third of
Well,
one building. We did also the welding shop a couple of years after that. The welding shop is good. The part that we did replace or did cover on the main building is now has leaks in it again. So
So if we can ask Janice, what is in the buildup to these maintenance numbers in here? Because we may need to add.
Yeah.
I think-
unfortunately, but we may need to add. They'll save a lot more
Right, we're
Well,
gonna
this could be
save
something we're
a
gonna do.
lot.
down the
this year.
road.
I think the main goal also, my personal opinion is that, yes, there's stuff that needs fixed, you know, in a timely fashion. But there also needs to be money put in there. Be set aside.
To
I mean,
build.
the new salt barns, you know, could be $450,000. Actually, there's gonna be some grants available for that at some point, you know, when we get to that point, but. You know, putting money kind of into piggy bank. So when we do have to replace it, and it's not, you know, 10 years from now, it's
In
gonna
the,
be
in the
Right.
capital reserve.
5 years from now.
Yeah,
You know, besides what we need to do immediately.
right. Let's get some numbers, if Janice could help us, under the maintenance, what's already thought about in those numbers.
Mhm.
And see what we gotta do to get these basic repair work done to the highway garage.
Okay,
Sounds like these things are something you have to address this year.
I think it's, you know, maybe we can do the roof this year. Or.
Well, it
2000.
sounds like the gutters need,
You know, the gutters are indefinite, maybe we do the gutters first. If we can pick away small things, we can do the gutters and all the walk-through doors. I mean.
Yeah.
Pick away at a couple small things. And I guess get the ball rolling to.
Yep.
Get there and not try to, you know,
I'm gonna come over tomorrow. See where we gotta go.
We pay $25,000 a year for street lighting.
That's something.
Recreation, admin, personal service.
Okay, we're
That's
still on
bad.
what page?
I'm sorry, I'm jumping.
That's okay.
Things, I see things.
Yeah, no, that's good. Where are we? Where are you looking?
Page 3.
Okay. Street lighting, okay, and what else?
And that's for Pat and anybody that works for her. Is that my understanding?
Yeah. All of the people that get hired to run those programs.
Gotcha. Okay.
And all of that, we get revenue to cover
Correct.
that kind of stuff.
our dog kennel,
Oh, I saw that.
is that something we haven't got, is that got that?
That's,
Is it in, or-
that's to go with Henrietta. That's, we have to do something and
We're looking
that's our
at this
cheapest alternative
17.
right now.
We're looking at $17,000 to
join with Hen-
participate with Henrietta and the dog kennel. We don't have a lot of options, it seems, but I don't know, that's
No.
a lot of money, but, or maybe it isn't, I don't
Is
know.
that's a year, or,
That's,
The
they're
first
building
year.
the facility. That's our share paying for what we're gonna use the facility.
and then going forward,
Going forward, we'll have to, if we have a dog incarcerated there, we'll be responsible for,
Bad dogs.
apparently it's feeding and
so that's a one-time shot then.
that's a one-time shot.
Just to buy into their program.
Yes. That's probably cheaper than us putting up a building.
I'm sure it probably is.
That's. Apparently he's got Brighton, Wheatland. And Henrietta, and he's also gonna try to get Pittsford maybe, no, Mendon. I don't. Schultz is trying to get as many people involved as possible. But if he doesn't get one of the bigger towns, it could be more than that, and then I don't know if it's worthwhile for us. We'll have to think of something else. He says that if Brighton doesn't come on board, that number could double. And then I don't know if it's worthwhile for us. But he's putting it through his budget because they're building a building. Gonna put an addition on the back.
you know, on average, how many dogs we collect a year?
Usually one or two. But unfortunately, this has been kind of a bad year.
No, I-
Just, it's been a bad month right now.
Oh, really? More dog problems?
We had one today, didn't we,
Lehigh Valley.
on the trail? Is that the same dog that's been harassing people for
Is there two of them?
There's two of them. There's a collie and
There's-
then there's a black, they said,
Mastiff,
Mastiff
something
Lab
mix?
mix.
Big dog.
And they
Gee,
keep,
man,
Chasing a lady on the trail on a bike.
Oh,
they're very aggressive.
And then Marge.
and they're not, obviously.
Marge Stevens got bit on her front porch. Neighbor's dog came across the street and attacked her dog. The dog was on a leash, apparently is good with people, but saw Marge on her porch with her dog, broke away from the guy holding the leash, came over and attacked her dog and breaking it apart. Her dog got $300 worth of vet bills. And then there was the one on East River.
That guy
couple
that guy's hurting. That guy. The guy that got bit.
On East River?
Where was the
Yeah.
one on the Lehigh Valley Trail? Whereabouts?
Right, they can, the dogs belong to whoever's living at 2705 Rushmondon Road. But no one will answer the door when the police go there or when the dog catcher's gone there. They refuse to answer the doors.
That dog need to be put down.
Is that even?
Bitten 3 people now.
Rushmondon.
Isn't it it rushed Scottsville the other way? That was the bad, really bad one?
Guy was running, I guess the guy was jogging or something, I don't know what the deal was, but dog attacked him and that's the same one that was over on East River Road down there by the farm down there.
Yeah,
The ladies there was just know nothing there, and the guy who the boyfriend or husband, whoever, he was a little bit more sympathetic, and the other that dog got him on his inner thigh a couple places and on his arm, and he
It was the
was,
second time. They chewed up the pizza guy.
yeah, that
yeah,
one,
Same
same
dog.
dogs.
yeah.
And this time they got the FedEx guy, right?
Yeah, some delivery guy.
Same dogs? How does that dog still get to roam?
I think you get 2 bites and then they put you down.
I
Seriously.
have heard that, 3 strikes and you're out, right?
I mean, he
Uh,
was town
All
hall.
the ones on Rushmond would bit 2 people and then all 3 of those went away.
So, an unusual year, so we
Yeah,
have
it's
dog
usually,
control issues.
Well, we could leave it in there if this Brighton doesn't go with it, then we got money for the building fund.
Do we know,
I got it.
um,
Hold on,
good,
finish.
it's just about that same kennel thing.
Mine's different.
The timing of when we'll find out?
well, it's in their budget.
Oh,
So
okay,
it's, he's putting together his budget and they're building a building, I think they're gonna hold the plumbing for a water park and
mm,
something else, but as long as they're building a building, they're gonna get as much out of this construction as possible.
Who takes care of the dogs when it's at, and let's assume that building gets built. We got to take care of the dog yourself. And who would do
We're
that?
gonna have some responsibility for the dog. I don't know how much, we'll have to work out some kind of agreement, but if we have a dog over there, they expect us to,
X amount per day per dog.
I would imagine, I mean, there's usually staffing for that kind of thing, no?
I'm asking, I don't know.
Like, are
Yeah,
we gonna
Well,
pay
it'll
it
be-
to,
it'll be some kind of
The
a rate.
APG.
when that happens, and I know, sometimes you gotta hold the dog overnight or whatever. Does that get billed back to the owner?
Well, we used to have an agreement with Suburban Animal Hospital.
Yeah.
And if your dog got picked up for any reason, we took it there and they charge $18 a day. Which was, if you want your dog back, you owe us $18 for every day it was here. And if it wasn't, if we have to give it shots or anything, we think it's rabid, possibility it's rabid. You're paying for all of that.
So beyond the construction part of this building, everything else would be paid for by the dog owner.
Correct.
If they
Okay,
pick the dog up.
yeah, if we pay the town.
We would pay for it, but if they don't come and get the dog,
Oh, we have to,
we paid for it.
you're right. You're right.
What about $17,000 addition to the barn over there? Oh,
So are we leaving
Huh?
are we leaving it in here for now?
We'll leave it in there for now.
Under page 5, highway, so. Help me out on this one, DJ. 124,000. Per improvement highway, is that the road?
Does it have an account number on it? Say DA something?
DA 5112.400.
you can come up here,
Is that Wardell Road that you were,
5110?
5112, 400,
Oh, yes,
Wardell Road?
yeah, it should be more than that.
The total.
Well,
is
it's 225, but it's up
Yes.
by 124.
So we have, the state gives us CHIPS money every year,
Yep,
which is the Consolidated Highway Improvement Program.
Yep.
This year, we're not spending much of it and in anticipation of doing this big job next year. So we should have, you know, a lot of that, $196,000 of that should be covered. Or should be money generated back to us
Okay,
But yeah,
for revenue. I mean, but we have to have the money in order to get, we have to spend it all.
and then get reimbursed.
And then I have to have canceled checks to give to New York State with a whole bunch of other paperwork. That says what we did, how we did it and all that before we can get the money back.
gotcha.
So some of this state aid, the CHIPS aid here, that 196, you say is
Yeah.
gonna go towards that Wardell Road
All of
expense.
that money is going towards Wardell. And then the rest will come out of that 5110.4 to cover that.
And then the machinery, equipment, capital outlay.
Yep.
Up 100, up to 160. Is that just trying to build back for the cost of the trucks?
Yeah, so initially I had anticipated buying a new 1-ton for 2025.
Mhm.
So now that we have that, the used one that we just purchased from Mendon.
Yep.
But I will say that, that potentially it may be a good spot to start. I know we put about $100,000 into our capital, capital reserve for equipment. Next year, I also have a pickup in there for 60,000. So that would leave me with $140,000 in the reserve. I need to order another 10-wheeler.
Mhm.
They're gonna be, I have it here at 320. I'm thinking probably by the time we get it, it's gonna be 350.
is that equipped?
That is equipped to plow snow and do whatever we needed to do. But that number has been left stagnant for so long. That we need to,
No,
I don't know.
thunder.
that
Um,
we need to increase it by, I mean, quite a bit.
So where is that number now? Are we? So you're saying this equipment, capital outlay, 160,000 is we're not gonna use it, or we are?
Gonna use 60 of it.
Okay,
The other 100,000 was anticipated for the new 1-ton pickup that was needing to replace. That would have the past town board meeting, you guys okayed to buy the used one from Mendon.
yeah,
28,000.
Yep.
That should cover us on that deal, so we don't need to to spend that 100,000, but I'm just saying that it would be nice for that 100,000 to go into the equipment reserve
Yeah.
Okay, move that to a reserve.
for years to come here. Yes.
So it's pickup truck plus reserve.
Equipment reserve, yeah, okay, so do we have a place where for the reserves, well, that's building reserves, or similar. You know, I don't know how we reflect that on the budget when we put money into a reserve account.
It should be under DA 5031.
5031. Where would I find that on this?
All right, another thing we want to consider for the highway is the generator that's over there, way undersized.
Yeah.
It-
Oh,
Is there?
thunderstorm,
That was lightning.
thunderstorm.
Oh,
It's
you
at
were
8
right.
o'clock.
Holy maggots,
That, I saw the flash.
Oh, you
right down
did?
through it. Yeah, I saw
Oh,
it.
thank God.
I say,
that was a little unnerving.
um,
Holy moly.
we
Right.
probably want to consider at some point, and that it's not state, no, not like the building. But the generator over there is way undersized and it's not sized
Yeah,
even
Johnny.
close to operation of that building. It just barely runs the bathroom and an office.
Yeah, John
They
said it was
use
like
the
a
overhead
whole-
doors.
a
They
whole
have to put them up by manual to put them up if power goes out. So I think we want to consider that, you know,
That's the fun.
again, more reserve funds, but unfortunately, it's slipped through the cracks all these years, you know. We've always tried to get by with what we had. That's biting us in the butt now.
The current generator only operates just the break room and the highway superintendent's office. It does not,
Doesn't.
and the fuel pumps.
Okay.
And the fuel
Oh.
pumps.
I was gonna say,
Yeah,
Yes,
good Lord, I hopefully at least.
it does not run any of the overhead doors. They all have to be opened manually and all that, so.
what are we talking about for a generator? A properly sized one,
We could ask John.
I'll ballpark 100,000,
really?
but that, I'm ballparking.
Well, by the time you get. 'cause you have to get
John's
the
looked
panel,
at it. We could
transfer
get a number
switch.
from him pretty quick.
everything.
John's looked at it. We could get a number from him pretty quick, I would bet.
Right. And he may have used ones too.
Would there be a market for the old one? I don't
Somebody
know how old
buy
it
it
is.
house. I mean, it'd probably do something for, like I said, it doesn't run hardly anything. It must be like a 7,500 KW or something, you know, it's not very big.
Let's
but-
get a number and start a reserve, right? I mean, these are things that,
I'll talk to John or.
Yeah.
Talk to John.
You got his number? No, I got it. I got it.
is that the guy in town here who does?
Yeah.
it?
Yeah. Well, when we switched to him, he said, you
Yeah.
gotta think about that because that's a small home one, but he said that it's terribly undersized for the garage.
Let's put our wish list together and then start planning for these things.
Right.
I mean,
That number is, DA 9950.9 is the transfer to reserve number.
I see the transfer to reserve number, okay. Okay,
Where are we? What page?
But
let's stay on page 5,
Right down.
the very last line,
Oh,
and maybe, oh, and that's where we'd put the 100K into that line. We're not saving a lot of money, but we're planning ahead.
what you gotta do.
We have to
That's
do
the
it.
trouble.
We have to
Nobody's
do it.
done that.
That's-
Yeah, I know. I agree. I'm totally on board with that.
only because I'm not
Yeah,
nitpicking things, but,
where are you now?
well, I'm just something I've noticed. Cell phone reimbursement.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up.
listen, I work full-time, and if I use my own personal cell phone,
Yeah.
I get $50 a month. I understand time has value, but.
Yeah.
If that's the case, then establish the working hours of which you're gonna answer the phone.
What number are you on?
It's just general, I mean, DJ, do you get cell phone reimbursement?
Maybe not.
Do you hand out your cell phone to everybody?
You have a town phone or your personal
I use my
phone?
personal phone. I'm not gonna carry two phones. Just because, and being at the highway department for 21 years now, everybody has this number.
Right,
Yeah.
And I prefer to keep this number, and I didn't ask for, I have to carry this phone no matter what.
so, but you get work calls, I would imagine, on the weekends
Yeah.
and nights. Can we look into a policy for our department heads? That have, especially
I mean, what I will ask is, and I, would ask.
the supervisor, the clerk, the building inspector, the highway department,
Like,
people who may need to get called on the weekends,
I'm just saying, I
and
just.
probably do.
Standardization of that would be better.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
DJ, Dan, Pam, like you said, anybody who's a department head.
I mean,
Has to
years ago,
Maybe get
you-
calls on nights and weekends to cover things, any of our department heads or all of them should be eligible for something.
Well, years ago, the Verizon used to charge you after 6 o'clock at night or before 6 o'clock and some bull, right? That's not like that anymore. If we did $50 a month. I mean, unlimited Canada, Mexico now. It's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
so what are you charging us for?
No,
But if you receive money from the town, to help pay for your cell phone bill, and the town then foil your phone. Cause you're using it for.
that's a legal question. I can't
And
answer
can
that.
be asked Kevin. I mean, because. If. Town of Rush is now paying for part of my cell phone. And they want to foil my phone.
I don't know. I've had companies pay for mine and your phone's your phone,
Yeah,
do company business and knock yourself off.
I get a stipend from my phone,
I got a call today
not
for,
not from the town of Rush, but from my other hat.
I carry two.
Oh,
Foil it, here you go.
and they issued that to you, your employer. The
Right.
rain.
That jumps out. Yeah.
Can we look into that in the, employee manual and see what would be reasonable?
Yeah.
I don't know about the foiling it, and if you want to decline over that,
Yeah, I mean,
that'd be your
that would
choice.
Be a question, I mean, certain people may want, I don't know.
I think this other individual here was putting in for cell phone reimbursement for the same phone.
Mhm.
I didn't care for that.
or are they just, $50 a month we're gonna give you $50, you're using your phone. Pay for, or a number, but that could be 60, whatever you wanna do, but. I think you do something like that, that's really what
Should be standardized.
it covers.
It should be. It should be.
Mhm.
We just add to the budget.
We're supposed to be cut.
I mean, we pay for work boots for guys, and we pay for coats for guys, we don't ask them for them back, the DNA or anything, so there's $50 for your phone. There you go.
Well, I'm talking about department heads only.
Right.
People who would be responsible to answer the phone because of an emergency.
That would be the whole highway department.
Really?
Well, I mean, during winter.
It's
time,
snowing, you better get in here.
Like right now, I can walk out here to be a tree lane in the middle of the road. I need 3 guys.
Yeah, but you're the one that's gonna get the call.
Like, but if I need to call them,
I know, but
it's still an emergency on their behalf too.
yes, but they're not gonna get the call and have to be available unless you call them. Is that true?
Right, but
I'm just
still
trying
need to
to
be available.
limit it to department, people who are overly, responsible for taking care of
They still
something.
need to be available in emergency.
Yes, but you're the overruling guy in that case. I'm guessing.
Say,
It's a start here.
Oh, I could see,
Did you ask,
like,
are they available 24 hours a day? In overtime as needed?
like himself and a supervisor, or maybe, I don't know, Lee Huttick or one of the supervisors over there. Number 2 guy,
Let's look into it.
Just it.
And that just reminds me of another issue that I know that Janice brought up in an email she sent out not too long ago about the employee manual. And it's something I raised a few years ago, didn't go anywhere, of what we should consider. Should we finally consider asking for more participation in the health insurance by employees?
That's in the, what we did in the employee manual.
I know, but we have to.
Yeah.
You say what we're going to pay
we need-
for.
We should be getting, I think the employee manual is done, and it should go to the town board.
Okay,
The single guys were only
remained
getting,
at 10%.
were,
The single remained at 10%, double or a 2-person plan with 12%, the family plan went to 18%. The problem, it mainly affects, I mean, the largest group it affects is my guys.
Yeah.
I have. This year, if this is enacted for 2025 with a 3.3% raise, there's gonna be people making less money next year than they are this year. And with the fact of not being able to find help when you need it. I mean, it's a double-edged sword.
it's,
I understand the cost of it, and it's, but compared to some other towns, these guys do not make per hour. They make amendment.
but what you're saying is kind of half true, maybe more than half true, but what you're failing to talk about is the cost of the health insurance to the town is not
Sure.
factored into their total compensation package. So
Well,
someone
it's
who
not
makes,
full-time. So what I'm gonna tell you is, hold on. All right? So say the town of Mendon pays 20%, it doesn't matter.
yeah,
There's guys starting, I have a gentleman that works at the highway department, been there 36 years. He makes $29 an hour. Go to these other towns. They're starting people at $28 an hour. All right, yeah, their health insurance is higher. If you wanna put the whole package together, we're still under. I mean, the state retirement's state retirement. The health insurance is what it is, what we provide or what we determine to offer. Vacation time, within a very small window of reason. So,
one of the things that this town used to do. The highway guys used to work for a little bit less money, we paid 100%. And they had some nice benefits, and then that went away.
You guys,
down to 90.
do you only have one insurance option?
well, in years past, we've always gone through Brown and Brown. I think they're kind of the consortium group of, how they gather. I don't know if they run towns together, like we're with Mendon and Wheatland and, other towns to get a cheaper rate. I have no idea how that stuff works. But I'm just saying that, there's people, I have nephews that have started at Town of Mendon that make, almost $28 an hour. And I have a guy that's been here 36 years that makes 29.
I think they do a bang up job and I'd be hard pressed to nickel and dime.
I'm not trying to
Okay.
nickel and
No,
dime,
I
I'm
know.
just trying to get some, when you look at the total package,
And that's the hard thing about what we're doing right now.
yes,
I
Of-
fully appreciate.
of what a
saying-
compensation, just hear me out, a whole your compensation is your pay. And then you add on all the benefits that are provided, okay? And you think you're making $75,000, but the town is shelling out, let's just say $100,000. Your benefits package is $100,000. So every year you compare it to the whole package. As the cost of health insurance goes up by double digits, the town is still absorbing more of that. We're just asking for some more participation on behalf of the employee. So year over year, your compensation package may still be increasing, but you have to pay a little bit more in. I'm trying to find some
So,
compromise here.
yes, the compromise be, maybe, is that. Especially on the family plan. You know, that's a large jump from 10% to 18%. Or, you know, maybe it goes in steps. Because you can't make a guy in 2024, he made X amount, you know, compensation package, or whatever you wanna call it. You can't, then next year, he makes X amount less per year. Because they're taking that directly out of his bank. And we all know what stuff costs. I'm just saying, you can't pay them less next year, or their overall total cannot be less next year than it was this year, expecting them to stay here and work
Mhm.
when it's as hard as it is to find out.
Do we get the benefit for our health insurance on a, a community-wide basis? Are we getting like group rates?
I believe so.
The other thing for the highway department goes, it's like, when we're doing county work. They're paying our benefits, when we're plowing snow for the state and the county, they're paying our benefits. So I don't exactly know what that number is, how much. Of our benefits they pay per year, but it's a pretty good percentage.
True,
I'm just
but I mean,
saying.
we're factoring, we talked about this last
that you
week or
take that out
something.
of there.
The cost of like, we have to have all these trucks and people because.
We
We're
have-
also providing a service to other municipalities, so we probably have more people than we would need if we were just taking care of the town of Rush. Is that fair?
Well, we were just doing
Okay,
town of Rush roads.
Yeah.
But there's county roads and state roads that we have to supply.
true, okay. I'm just like, as opposed to going into the town of Wheatland or wherever else. And we buy all these trucks, we gotta have enough trucks to do on the right equipment, so,
But
you
that
know,
guy-
all in. I'm sorry,
Them guys also all come here. When we have our stuff. So it kinda, you know. We go to help town of Mendon with their stuff, they come here and help town Rush with their stuff. And vice versa with Wheatland and whatever other town needs help. You know, it's kind of the family group of making sure. And yeah,
Okay.
sure, maybe we spent, an extra 10 hours over there this year.
so what do other towns do? Does anybody know? I had asked this in years past. I could never really find out. In terms of reimbursements, or not reimbursements, but cost sharing for health insurance.
Oh,
You
but
know?
the question's been asked. I mean,
I'm
that's
sorry?
a good, interesting concept.
Like you say, like, oh, I'm gonna make more hourly there, but you're gonna have to pay more health insurance. So I don't know, like, are we always comparing
That's
apples
what
to
I'm saying.
apples?
If you wanna put your compensation package as you will. Call
Yeah.
it
The whole thing, all in.
the whole thing, maybe, we're exactly the same as towns around us, towns of similar size. That was my point, is that our guys don't make a lot of money per hour. But
But we
do
have the better benefits.
they have a better benefit, you know, health insurance wise and stuff like that, which makes us all kind of on an even plane.
So it would be interesting to see how that is working, because it is overall, the town is paying more and more and more.
That's, but be nice if health insurance didn't go up 20% a year.
Every
No
year,
kidding.
every year. But I think we need to know what we, I mean, we're talking and we don't, the intent is not to hurt people, it's just to
No,
like,
My intent was just to
Well, yeah,
have guys that have been there X amount of years. Not go find other jobs. Because they made less money in 2025 than they did in 2024.
well, and the policies that are gonna be like the 12% and the 18%. What if the people that had to pay more got the 3.3% increase? And the guys that didn't have to pay anymore didn't get it? How would that work? Would there be a revolt over there, or
Say that again, like I said.
guys that had to pay more for their health insurance?
Yeah.
What if they got the 3.3% increase that we were gonna give it to everybody? And the guys that don't have to pay more for health insurance didn't get it?
Yeah,
they forego the
There would be a,
COLA.
yeah, you
I'll
got,
just
you
answer that
gotta,
question.
you know, you gotta feed them. You gotta give them something.
Yeah.
I mean,
Can Janice get this information even from our health insurance consultants? You know, I'm not saying she needs to do everything, but look, can we look at this so we know whether, you know, we're talking hypotheticals? Maybe.
In years that it has changed before, you know, it's always been that company, Brown and Brown. From what I remember, and it hasn't, we haven't sat down with them. And there's different options of, also.
I know this was explored maybe 2 years ago when I first came on board. And you were with.
Yeah.
You know, we got something from somebody, we never really went down the road to look at different kind of health insurance packages that's maybe tailored better for people like the young single guy doesn't need,
It's pretty basic now.
right? I don't know, that's not my area of expertise, just looking at the costs. That would be helpful.
Let's see.
$29 an hour, you're only talking 87 cents.
Hmm?
You're talking 87 cents on a 3% raise, $29. Health insurance is more than that.
Yeah.
But if Harris gets in, there won't be any health insurance, it'll be all government. I don't know, call the other towns, see how we look, you know? But I do know we're on that is a slippery road there, because we can't get guys. Can't find talented guys to come in and work. And these Class A drivers and Class B drivers. That work,
I know, it's hard to get people.
well,
The stuff that I
Well,
do,
we got-
there's nobody that wants to do it, anything.
that kind of pay
Get a
attention.
guy to climb a ladder, forget about it. I don't do that.
Mm,
Well, how you gonna do the roof?
Maybe call the county, see if there's a chance to get in with the county, or the, county do.
See what I can find out.
okay,
That, I mean, that's a big hit on the budget.
it is. Any other line items?
not right now.
Okay,
I'm trying to keep it less than 11 o'clock.
8:30.
Well-
Considering we thought we weren't gonna get anywhere, I think we raised some questions to be investigated,
Yeah, I got things written down.
okay?
Do you still use the tier system over there? I remember 20 years ago, there was a tier system, you know, someone come in,
Step,
yeah. But what?
steps,
Yeah,
it's all broke down in the organizational meeting. You know, what each or each person, you know, could potentially make.
Right,
in a step.
classification of the race.
So,
Age.
you know, if I were to give somebody a raise, you know, and move them up a step, it's basically, you know, 2025 rolls around, and I decide February 1st to give somebody another step increase in the bracket they're in. It's basically just another 3.3% higher than, you know, 6.6% from the year before.
okay. 'Cause I was just trying to figure out how Mendon could start somebody at 30 and I thought we all had to play with the state numbers or something.
No, it's up to the town to develop them numbers. I don't know how that all works. I mean. I'm just saying they're starting guys at a higher rate, you know, 27.5 bucks an hour or more. You know, an operator or a person that has skill. Where we have guys that been there 36 years, going on 37, that, you know, don't make a whole lot more than that.
Right,
Do you know why, page 1? State aid mortgage tax, we have nothing. Is that something that comes in at the end of the year? Under the revenue here,
maybe it's come in yet.
what I'm asking. I don't-
Yeah, I'm guessing that, okay,
Okay,
it might be a lump sum kind of thing. that
right,
comes at
okay,
The end of the year, I don't know.
okay. I just noticed that we didn't have that in there. Budgeted to receive it, but we didn't get it.
Yeah.
In addition to some of these questions we raised, I really would like to see seriously, the fund balances, the movement in those fund balances. I want to see the trends,
I thought she got those, she didn't get them to you.
not really. So that we can see the
Yeah,
trends
they're-
overall, where we're settling.
I
Are
get
we,
those.
are we going too far into those funds?
Didn't I send those out? Probably.
You
June
sent out
Or May?
some statements for June, I think, and maybe there's some numbers there, but what was included in there was yes, the money that's invested, but doesn't talk about the makeup of,
No, we get a breakdown every month with where we are in the budget and like, well, we should be 50, well, we should be around 60% spent
true,
on each budget item.
yeah, okay. But
And
what
that
I'm,
statement comes out every month.
but what I'm looking for is to reconcile on like a 60,000 foot level. We have every year, in order to keep the tax rate at a certain level, in this case, to keep it at a 2%.
Yep.
We have to eat into our
Yep.
reserves,
That
and
much-
we do that
that
every
much
year.
this year.
That's that number.
Yep.
Okay, and so on for the
Yep.
town, the highway, the library.
Yep.
Okay,
Well,
and we do that year over year. I like to, I mean, I could see where maybe it's using a
Oh.
little less than last year, but
Yeah,
Where are
that,
we?
that
What's the
particular,
trend?
number, yeah,
you know what I mean, in the trend of using town reserves.
yeah.
Because if we get too far down, we're looking for serious trouble.
In the past, and,
In the
and this
future.
year we're ahead on sales tax income.
Yeah,
It's up slightly. And we usually predict lower. Some years, we haven't spent any of the money that we set aside from the unexpended balance.
yeah,
That's been replaced with
other
With-
revenue,
with sales tax revenue.
yeah,
And
okay.
that, and that's how our
It got
reserve
built up.
account got built up
Built
so
up.
high.
So
Yeah, it'd be nice to have that number where.
that's what the number I'm talking about.
Okay, Yeah.
So like, is this reasonable to say, yeah, this is what we want to do?
Yeah.
And we're gonna have to pull 300 grand out of that, and it's just like, can we do that?
Yeah.
Without knowing what we have.
Yeah.
I can't budget that in my head.
I'll see if I can get that.
Okay, perfect. You know what I mean? Kind of. Thank
So
you.
we're gonna be at 2%
That's currently planned.
plan.
I think if you go over that, is that the cap?
That 2%. Yeah, if we go over that, then you have to
You
vote.
have to petition, you have to,
Yeah,
it's not that you can't, it's you have to do some
Yeah.
other steps.
yes.
Who, okay, I'm dumb. Who said that?
Statewide.
State, that's a state. State says you can't spend more than 2% next year than they did this year. Unless you go through a lot of other steps.
Well, Hopewell doesn't have problem spending money like it's water.
I don't know how that works for her.
I was just wondering, where would we be if we didn't have to tap into our reserve for next year?
I
Just
think
what,
that's what-
hypothetically,
I
what would
think
that?
that's basically what Gene's asking. Where would we be if we just kept it flat? Completely based, budget completely based off of tax income, not using reserves.
Right, cause
Well,
we're at 2.5, or, you know, where are we gonna be, you know?
And what are we comfortable? Have we built it? And I know we had built
We'd
it
have
up
to shave
to a
300.
very comfortable level for a town our size. But every year we've been
Right,
chipping away at
pretty
it.
soon it's gone.
And then if we have a real need, we're gonna have trouble. We already looking out the things we need to do because,
Taxes need to go up.
well, yeah. And I don't want,
Raise
I don't think it's fair for in any one particular year. For a certain group of taxpayers to get hit in any one year, like, oh, because we didn't watch our reserves, you gotta pay 10%,
That's.
but. Everybody this year, we're gonna, it's this little 2% comfortable level.
In 2018,
For most people.
2019,
I'm not trying to say 2% is not here.
we were collecting $400,000 in taxes. And then it dropped. I think when we refinanced, so it must have been 19. When we reassessed. And then we were bringing in actually less.
Mm,
So
because-
Janice has been trying to build it back up to at least where we were in 2000, whatever, when it dropped, because the price of everything has gone up. That's why we got to the point where we're using so much in them. But then, I mean, so we're trying to collect more in taxes, but we can only go by 2% per year. And so next year we will be above where we were 4 years ago, 5 years ago, which is good, but because everything else is up, it's really not. It's not getting us ahead. It's just getting us to where we were 4 or 5 years ago.
Much better than going downhill.
Hmm?
Better than going downhill.
Yeah, but it's- COVID made everything funny.
That would be extremely helpful to have for our next meeting.
Okay, I'll work on it.
When does she get back? Wednesday?
She should be back Wednesday, and of course she doesn't work Wednesday, so it'll be Thursday.
Back in the office.
And then I'll be out, but I guess I'll be in.
We know when the next meeting's gonna be?
Budget meeting?
We'll have to figure it out.
So work with Janice, I guess.
Yep.
Look at the timetable
Yep.
and when can we squeeze one in to get these questions answered?
Yep.
And
Yep.
I don't think we're in bad shape
I
in
think
terms
we're
of
not- I
questions.
think we're moving along pretty good. Still some questions.
I like to suggest that next budget workshop. Our heads could show up at the meeting.
Department heads?
Yeah. I'm sorry, but I don't buy into Zoom. It's hard for me to hear. I don't know about anybody else. But when we're talking numbers and we're trying to run a town here,
Yeah.
They can show up at the damn town meeting.
And if it's gonna take a while, earlier. I just need to know ahead of time.
Like to start the meeting earlier,
Well, yeah,
6?
I'd like to see my daughter before she goes to bed
Right.
too, so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no problem.
So 6 o'clock, it has to
all
be-
right
I just
with
gotta
me.
work around my schedule.
You do that. That's
I could do it.
better for me anyway. Maybe see my wife. Maybe you don't wanna see me though.
It's not.
All right, we've had enough. Make a motion to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Hi,
Thanks, everybody.
good
We're
discussion,
moving along.
good discussion. And you'll find out about the bifurcation of the roles,
So,
the bifurcation of the roles to
Thanks, Nick.
Yeah.
avoid this other
yeah,
status issue.
mhm.
All right, have a good night.
Have a good night.
You too.
See you later. So I'm gonna hang on to this one. I'll do it. Yeah.